This is Ron with a update on my Honda CB500X. I've got 11,500 miles on it now. As you may have seen in my original video, I'm in love with this bike. I've had 58 years of riding and I've had all kinds of bikes. It's just kind of the Swiss Army knife of bikes. There's been some interesting updates though that I wanted to keep you posted on. So I got a lot of comments about vibration, and you know, the original, if you are aware of the original 500X, before they made a major change in 2019, it was electric motor smooth, and everybody complained about lack of charisma, lack of character, and they added character. They gave it a twin cylinder sensation exhaust, and I really love it. For the kind of riding I'm doing, 50 to 150 miles of back roads, vibration doesn't even bother me. But I have to say, on the freeway, getting up to California freeway speeds, it really does get a little annoying. So let me show you what I did. There's been a lot of suggestions about putting things inside the handlebars, plumber's putty, Play-Doh, ball bearings in some kind of a solution, and I'm sure they all work. I just wasn't willing to go through all that. Two of my friends had grip puppies, which are foam sleeves that fit over the existing grips, and they both seemed happy with them. And it's $20, and supposedly it was an easy installation, so I went for that, and I just tested them out on the freeway and all around here. Let me show you them. So they said to wet down the grip puppies with soapy water and just slide them on. I was convinced it was going to be a 15-minute struggle, and they went on in about 15 minutes. Might be a little bit big for people with smaller hands. Works fine for me. It reminds me a lot of back in the late 80s, early 90s. I had a lot of BMW twins, and we used to all put on those bikes soft foam grips, and very similar to this in some ways, but of course they were a pain to put on. So this is kind of an interesting development from my point of view. I really don't think there's much downside unless you have issues with the size of them. But I took it out in the freeway, ran it through the gears, freeway speed, and it does make a difference. Although I really think to some extent, if you're really bothered by vibration and you're doing a lot of commuting, you probably should get a different bike. This is just kind of the nature of this bike, and I love it, and a lot of people do. So almost no oil consumption. I'm ready for an oil change. I'm going to mark the sight glass after this oil change to see how little it uses, which I suspect is very little. The chain at 11,500 is not only looking great, I haven't actually adjusted it in 4,000 miles. I'm going to get ready to adjust it soon. It's just towards the loose end, and I've got some tips. So one of these days I'll do a video on chain life, but I got 38,000 miles on my V-Strom 1000, and the person I sold it to was a friend, and he ran it to 50,000. Another friend of mine put 45,000 miles on his chains and sprockets on his VFR 800. So one other thing I was going to talk to you about is the tires. So I had a hard time dealing with the tires, picking a tire. There's not a lot of choices with the sizes. I wound up putting these Michelin Road 5, and this is the fourth set, and usually I get about 11,000 miles on them. I really wanted the Michelin Anakis, and I've had 7 or 8 sets of those, but they didn't come in the correct size. So I realize this is a street tire, and you know, I'm willing to do some light off-road. I may do an off-road test on these somewhere along the line. It cools down. But if you look close, you'll see that this front one says Road 5 Trail, and this came from a major supplier of tires and accessories, and I've dealt with them before, and I thought I was getting 2 Road 5 tires. Well, the front is a Road 5, but it says Trail. So what's going on? I called Michelin twice, couldn't get an answer, couldn't get a decent answer out of the company that sold them to me, and since I didn't know what other tire to put on, I just went ahead and put them on. At 4,000 miles, they're wearing great, as they always do. I expect to get 11,000 out of them. So I'm happy. I'm sure Michelin doesn't approve of it, but hey, make the Road 5 in the correct front tire, or give us the Anarchy. Wonderful bike. People compliment me on the way it looks. For a $7,000 bike, wow, everything works great. The ABS is flawless, low center of gravity, great handling, everything you want and nothing you don't want. This is Ron signing off.